Okay.
Hear me?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yo.
I think we're good.
Let's
I,
fuck. Oh.
wait, let me see. Cool. Yeah, I'm using StreamYard. I don't remember who I saw doing this, but it's like a podcasting software because I was using Zoom, and then we'd like record the sessions, and then I don't know. It was just kind of a mess with. It didn't look good. This probably doesn't look very good, but
Wait,
um,
did you do the first? I watched your entire first one. Did you do that using this?
which one? The
The
one that
beat.
was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Like
Okay.
4 days ago. Yeah. We used Google Hangout for the one that Jack and I did like 2 months ago for like the sprint page, and then I did a couple with buddies just using Zoom. And then, dude, I brought my camera out here. Hold up, this thing, which is actually kind of
Oh,
nice. It's a
that's
beast, bro.
badass.
It is nice, but I brought it down to Costa Rica and didn't bring the batteries, dude. So it ran out like right away. And yeah, I didn't bring the batteries, so I'm just ripping the MacBook camera and everything right now. But I was planning on getting like a whole setup here. I got this little
Oh, this
office
is
space.
this is
Did I?
nice.
Yeah, did I not show you this yet?
I don't think so. Mate, I
Yeah,
saw.
dude. So
I assume
I
this
don't
was
want to
in.
move the. I don't want to move the camera around too much, but I'm like a block from the beach, so I have like it's like this little office space.
Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. And then there's one other little private office, like right there, and then there's like shared office space, like right there with like two desks. So it's like super small. But I'm the only one that works here.
And how far away is this from your place?
Like it's 10 minute walk, but it's like so I'm like the beach is literally like I step outside, I'm on the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a dental office and then like a tour guide office or something, and I'm like 10 minutes inland, but it's which is nice. But yeah, dude, it's pretty gnarly here. I'm in Tamarindo. I don't know if you've been to have you
Never.
Mexico?
Never.
Oh, I feel like I was talking to you about that. Maybe not.
Yeah, no. I've only been to Europe. That's the only place outside of the U.S. I've been.
Yeah, before this, me too. It was Europe. I went to Dublin, and then I went to London, and then I've been to Canada. But then I've been like all over the U.S. So I being in Seattle for like the last being based in Seattle for the last like 8 months. I just needed to come get sun, dude, and I got my fair
See,
share. If
bro.
you
I can see you
can't
got.
tell, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't have the. I don't. I mean, I'm building a base, I guess, because like it was a lot worse like a few days ago, and I'm peeling on my back now. But I think I'll be fine, like from here, hopefully.
Wait, have you met anybody down there? Do you know anybody down there?
I have now, yeah. I've met a couple friends through church, and then I've met guys like on the beach. Like a dude tried to sell me a dirt bike for like 3K. Like there's dudes that sell like everything, right? Obviously they're selling the illegal things, like just walking down the beach. But this dude, like I was just walking to get lunch today,
Uh-huh.
and I was just like eyeing this like dirt bike because I have been thinking I almost rented like a motorcycle. They called it like a motorcycle, but I checked it out. It was just like a moped
Yeah.
with like tiny wheels, so you couldn't really take it anywhere because all the roads here are pretty dirt. Like it's like dirt and like bumpy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this guy saw me checking out the dirt bike. Maybe not, but he's just like, amigo, like like you want this? Do you want to buy this? I'm like, yeah. Like, how much? He's like 3K. I'm like, oh no. And then I was like, could I like rent it for like a month? He goes, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, come with me, come with me. And then he like brings me to his boys, and they're like giving me their like WhatsApp. So I got this guy's number. So I might rent a dirt bike down here because a lot of people are on dirt bikes, mopeds, motorcycles,
Mm-hmm.
golf carts, ATVs, dude. There's some people just like ripping on ATVs, like
On the beach? You
no,
ride-
not on the beach, but on the road. Yeah, no, I haven't seen any. They'll do like those e-bikes on the beach. Like you ever
Yeah.
seen those like big? I used to have. I didn't have an e-bike, but I had like a fat tire bike. So like if you've ever seen those fat tire bikes, they've got those down here just with like the battery, and those things rip.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, they got the like. They really by any means necessary, they're getting around. I mean, people are ripping around, and they go fast, and they these little like what would look like a residential road, like that's what all the roads look like where I am, and people just rip down them, dude. And like if someone's going slow, like people like move around them. It's like very little traffic control.
Yeah,
Dude, it's awesome. It's just like it's so cool.
Wait, you're in Costa Rica though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I'm on like the west side. I'm on the like upper west side of Costa Rica on the Pacific side.
Is it like a nicer area?
Yeah, I mean like it's nice enough. Like I wasn't really looking for some like resorty place. It's just like perfect. It's like I would say it's like somewhere in the middle. It's called Tamarindo. It's like so you can fly into Santa Cruz or no, I don't know what it's called. There's two airports in Costa Rica, and it's like Liberia, and I think like Santa Cruz or something. That's definitely not what it is, but it might be. But I flew into Liberia, which is like the northern part, and then it's like a 2-hour shuttle. And I think there's like 2-3 hotels in the whole town, so it's like moderately touristy, but a lot of it's like I'm staying in like a little condo, like 7 minutes, 10 minutes from the beach. Which is pretty cool.
Any Americans, or is it just...
Dude? So this is the most insane thing. I think I posted about this. I know I put this somewhere, but about like Minnesotans like always finding each other.
I saw that. Yeah.
Did I tweet that or did I LinkedIn?
I think I saw it
on LinkedIn.
No?
I think I think I put that on LinkedIn. But I might have also tweeted it. But dude, the first American I meet, dude, it was insane. Like I think I've like said hi, like and I've like you know gone across some Americans, be like, what's up? But like the first one I like shook hands with and like exchanged names and information with, the pastor at the church that I went to. Like I met him. He came up to me after church and like introduced me to this dude. He's like, oh, he's American, and the guy's like, oh, like where are you from? I'm like Minnesota, and the dude's like, oh, from Arden Hills, and he's from he's like 20 minutes away from where I grew up.
That's hilarious.
Insane, man. And it's like not that crazy, but just like with all the moving around that I've done over the last year and a half and the amount of people I've met, like every time I go somewhere, I feel like I meet someone from Minnesota, which might sound like, dude, that's not that crazy, but I don't know. It seems weird because like Minnesota's not that popular of a place, I feel like. But maybe it is.
How old was this guy?
He's like 30. And we're hanging out on Saturday. We're gonna do like a barbecue and like I don't know. But I think that's so cool, man. And he was with like I think his mom was visiting him. So like I met his mother and just like classic Minnesotan mother, just like so sweet. Was so curious about like everything I was doing. Like it was just so cool, man. And but yeah, I swear, like Minnesotans always find each other, or someone's got like an uncle in Minnesota. It's like an uncle in St. Paul or something. Like,
dude, I love it, bro.
Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, we've been talking about doing a podcast together for what feels like months, just like an episode. And yeah, we've put a couple on the books, and I don't know. I feel like we're both really busy. We talked about maybe pushing it back a couple of weeks, but I'm glad we decided to just go for it. Speaking of being busy, you told me a little bit about what we were just talking about with the amount of posts that you put out this month. I don't know how much you can talk about that, just like client stuff, but if you want to touch on that, I think that's an insane number. And I also want to talk about the question of quality and quantity, because I've seen you talk about that a little bit, and then how that pertains to like the amount of posting that you've done. Like, is that just April alone, or are you saying like last 30 days?
Last 28 days, yeah. Last 28 days. Right. So in the last 28 days, I've posted 515 times. That's across my LinkedIn, my Twitter, the company I work for, their Instagram and YouTube. I'm not even counting any newsletters I've written for clients or any Twitter threads for clients. So all client work, that's out of there. that's only usually like 20 or 30 a month. So bump it up maybe 530. But so yeah, that's the last 28 days. And that's so the reason we brought this up is because I was saying I kind of hit a wall, and I was like, why did I hit this wall? And that's when I spent time looking at my last 30 days, and I was like, dude, you dumbass, it's because you posted over 500 times. Like, of course you're gonna hit a wall. So just synthesizing that and like slowing down a little bit because it's not sustainable. But the question, quantity versus quality, is a hot debate, and I think it depends on the industry you're in or who you're trying to target and what type of content you're creating. But I would say from my experience, when you're starting a page at zero, like 0 followers, 0 traction, quantity has to be there. Quantity has to be there before quality. And quality will catch up to the quantity because the more you do, the more reps you get, the better it's going to be. So like if you are listening to this and you have 0 followers, like you have to prioritize quantity. And it's like just you have to have like pure determination to like make it work. Like I literally started posting on Twitter a month ago, and I had 0 followers, and I was like, screw this. I'm literally just going to sprint a marathon. And then like in a month I got 100 followers, reached 50,000 people. So that's really like how you just get the ball rolling. It's like, so I'm a big quantity and quality because I'm just like all in, like, but initially it has to be quantity if you're starting at 0, and then scale, like, yeah. So
So 2 things. I want to talk to you about like Twitter and LinkedIn because obviously I've been seeing. I watched it come up on Twitter, and it's so interesting to see, and it's so cool to see like the progression. It feels like what, like 2 months. How long have you been posting on Twitter?
1 month exactly.
1 month.
Yeah.
So that isn't a whole nother conversation, but the question of like what is quality and like what is, what quantity is, but like what is quality? Like that is like engaging content, valuable content. I think with like a guy like you and the content that you put out, like your personal brand and your like ability to translate value like shines through like your tweets. So I think like for you, and I think like from maybe I'm off, but like what you bring also to like your clients and like the people you work with is the ability to like translate value in a way that's like coming from their brand in like a funny way.
Yeah.
But like I don't know how to explain it, but like I feel like your content like has like Aidan Brannigan attached to it. Like if I saw like one of your clients post something, I would be like, oh, I think that came from Aidan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you kind of have like your own little way of like putting words together. And I think that's like authenticity. And I think it's also just like, I don't know. So how important do you think that is? And do you think like that is the quality that you talk about, like in putting out content, or like what do you think makes quality content?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I appreciate that. Like that's like my number one focus. So hearing that's a humongous compliment. Because like that's the one thing people will look at my profile and they're like, what's the strategy behind this? Like he's just like trying to make people laugh. There's no strategy behind this. And like people always focus on the strategy, planning. So much so that they don't realize they're not strategizing and planning. They're just procrastinating, and they just don't start. They're just focused on planning. So my strategy has been making it as authentic as possible so that when you see my content and then you meet me in person, there's no difference. And prioritizing, identifying what makes me unique. So like that's my North Star. I always ask myself, why would somebody follow me over the next guy? And always trying to perpetuate that in my content. And that's through like witty humor, clever content. So, and then back to the client stuff, I've actually had like one buddy, his name's Buster Share, but he posts on LinkedIn too. He asked me, he's like, so when clients come to you, are they like, yeah, I want ghostwriting, but like I want it in your voice? And usually it's the other way around. Like when you're ghostwriting, you put it in their voice, but people will see my voice and they're like, I want that voice. So I'm actually trying to shift a little bit and do it for brands more so. So whereas like I was giving my voice to other individuals, now I'm trying to do that for brands where I can just create the voice, if that makes sense. This is how I'm doing it with the marketing millennials. But yeah, I don't even know. I forget what your question was, but like
I did too.
Yeah, that's like my number one thing in content is to try and make it so that if somebody sees the post but doesn't see who it's from, they can still know it's me, and they still know it's Aidan Brannigan's post.
Yeah, I think when it comes to a brand, and like what you ultimately want as a brand is for your customer or like your potential customer to resonate with the brand. I feel like, like that's going to make them want to buy or be a part of your community, whatever it is. And I feel like a good way to do that is through like authentic marketing or authentic content. I don't even, I mean, you'd call that marketing. It's just a type of marketing. And it's hilarious, dude. Because I look back to like, I feel like the Wendy's Twitter or like any of those like Twitter accounts, just like the most random Twitter accounts, Jiffy Lube or whatever, like just like comes out with some like catching people so off guard, and people can't help to be like, oh, why did Wendy's just tweet the
Duolingo? Have you ever seen Duolingo's Twitter?
No.
Holy crap, bro. They're all over the place. But not to cut you off, but that type of stuff, I see like that type of content where it's like so authentic, like you have that. That's why I love your shit. Like honestly, I don't think there's many other people other than like Jack Rains, if you know him.
Yeah.
Where on social media, when I read their content, I'm like, fuck, that's funny. Like that is funny. Like in the stuff you write, like I don't even know if you're trying to be funny or not, but when you put like think about that at the end of your post, I die. I don't know why I think I'm like, that's your voice. Like I can see you saying that. That's why it resonates. I'm like, so that's like number one in content, and you have it.
I appreciate that. I think, like that, think about that and those little things. I'd add those into my post because like that's what I'm thinking. Like when I'm writing these things, I think, and there has been plenty of not only posts that I've deleted, but posts that I've like really wanted to post, and then I'm like, I can't do it. And that's kind of like why I have Twitter. And like for a long time, like, I mean, I loved Twitter. I was posting on Twitter before I started posting on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've been less consistent with LinkedIn, but I love LinkedIn. Like I love posting on there. And once I ripped the Band-Aid off, like months ago, I think it was in like this fall. I remember. So dude, honestly, hold up. Let's take this back because I don't want to gloss over the fact of how you and I came to meet. I don't know if you remember, but when I was at Sezzle, when I was at my, the startup that I worked for in college, we were hiring for marketing people and we had just had a call that we were hiring for marketing people. And I saw your Stark Industries LinkedIn post and I was like, dude, this is I just loved it. I thought it was so funny. And wasn't that was that one of your first posts at least went viral, or what was that?
Yeah, that is still my most viral post under my personal brand on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like by far. And for context for people listening, it's the classic thing on LinkedIn is, I just dropped my pen, but the classic thing on LinkedIn is people announce their jobs. They're like, oh, I'm proud to announce I got a job at Google, software engineer. Thank you to Jim for the advice on the road or whatever. So I was like, all right, I see all my classmates getting internships at Google. I'm going to troll them a little bit and say, I'm proud to announce I got a job at Stark Industries. Thank you, Tony Stark, for the help along the way. And then at the end, I was like, on a serious note, I'm looking for a marketing internship. If you need somebody, I'm your guy. And it got like 1.5 million impressions. And I got 75 I counted it. I had an Excel sheet. I got 75 inbound job opportunities from it.
Wow.
And not even including the fact you reached out to me, and now we've been talking since then for the past like 18 months, which is more valuable.
How long ago was that? Like 2 years ago? That had to
That
have been
was,
like 2
that was January 2022. So like a year and a half ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was the first, maybe just in memory, but one of the first LinkedIn posts that I saw. I don't know if how's my can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that was like one of the first like LinkedIn posts that I saw that was like, because I definitely wasn't following any people that had like content like yours or content like Jack Rains or any of that stuff. But I remember just seeing that and like laughing and being like, I'm laughing at a LinkedIn post right now. Like it's all like that exact frame that you just brought up is like, I feel like for the longest time, like LinkedIn was either like an announcement post or like a last ditch like marketing team like effort like to like post something and then like the whole sales team just likes it. It's like a marketing post. It's like an announcement and it's got like 30 likes. Like, oh, that's good. And then you look at it, it's like all their SDRs.
Yeah.
They're just like resharing, like, look at this, please. But yeah, I think that's hilarious. And like the fact that it works is awesome. And I think authenticity just goes such a long way. And to see like the and humor too.
Bro,
I mean,
humor. Oh my God. I have like kind of a mentor. His name's Matthew Winkelstein. And he's like, you should really study humor and see why it works. Like you're able to do it and it's working, but like study it why. And I started like reading into it, listening to the TED Talks and about like all these crazy things about how effective humor is at increasing brand retention, all these things that companies should know. Like why do you think during the Super Bowl, the biggest event, supposedly the biggest sporting event, it's actually the biggest marketing event in the world? Why do all of the companies try and be funny during the Super Bowl? Because humor is literally the most effective way to connect to people. I think it's the most effective, but there's not a coincidence there. Like it's either pulling at the heartstrings, what Budweiser does, or making you laugh. Those are like the two top tier.
Yeah, you should A/B test like humor and like heartstrings.
But that's where Jack Rains is so good. He pulls at the heartstrings, and then at the end you realize he's trolling you.
Yeah, dude, I think he's probably my favorite creator, like on Twitter, and then the way that like he trolls, but like he has like a lot of people that most people that follow him on LinkedIn know he's a troll, but then he gets those like couple people that are like completely blind to satire, and then he'll like bring that to Twitter with a screenshot and then make content out of that. And like, yeah, I've loved watching him. That guy's hilarious. But yeah, I think it makes sense from like a psychological standpoint. When you think about how much time you have to resonate with someone or to like get a value proposition across to somebody, and like just using humor as like a translator, because that's like the quickest thing that's gonna land with someone, right? Or like get them to feel something. Like obviously, I think that's just like marketing, 101. But yeah, I think that's really funny to think about like Super Bowl commercials, because I still remember like some of my favorite like the old Bud Light Super Bowl commercials or like the Doritos Super Bowl commercials, because like for their time, like you never saw commercials like that, and they were funny like for the time being, like in that time period. I think it's really funny though to see the evolution of like marketing and humor, and like how things that like would have been funny in like 2010 just like are like the way, dude, meme culture has, I think, fried brains like that. There's that meme of, I think it's Lord Farquaad, and it's just the letter E. I don't know if you've ever.
Oh, I've seen that. What does it mean, bro?
Bro, it doesn't mean anything. It means no. I don't think. I honestly have no idea. I'm trying not to like start crying laughing because that meme is so funny for no reason. And like I think meme culture and like memes in general have just like done something to the young human brain that at the scale that it's done has like never been done before. I feel like I mean it is transformed humor to like where there's so much disconnect. Like my we have like a family group chat and you know my sister and I will send stuff in there. And my mom will just reply and be like, "What?" Like literally just like, "What is that? Like what does that mean?" And meanwhile, like all my sister and I will like be FaceTiming, like crying, laughing at something, and like even like my brothers who are a little bit older, like they appreciate it and they like it, but there are some memes that are like, what? Like what is this? Why is it? Yeah, it's like right over their head, but it like should be because they're like normal humans.
It's
like,
a different language.
Like, it is.
Memes are a different
yes.
language. Bro,
and that the essence of language and marketing is so cool because like you can almost, I don't want to say dumb it down, but it is really just like, yeah, man, I don't know.
Dude, I think that meme that, I mean, you showed it to me. It's like, we're so done. Oh, we're so back. Oh, we're so effing done. Oh, we're so effing. That is like the essence of like my life, and it's a meme. I think that's the funniest meme ever, but it is a completely different language for sure. And like, I think one of the reasons it's so impactful is because like a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Well, what's a picture with words in it? What's that worth? It's worth like 10x that easily. Because if you see a familiar template, you throw some words on it, it's not a picture anymore. It's not just a word. It means something to groups of people, and like that's how you get the reactions and like the emotions. Like it's crazy. Like, and yeah, I love memes, bro. I could talk about memes all day.
I know, and I think a simple fact is that not enough businesses are slinging memes. I think that's a fact. And this is going to sound like a joke, but it's in all seriousness. Someone could definitely make a meme agency, and there's definitely one out there, but just like to provide like 10 memes a month for like startups or something that they can put on Twitter or put on LinkedIn. Because if you think about this, like, so interesting, right? Elon Musk buying Twitter, and I think him or Jack, the founder of Twitter, like called it like the closest thing we have to like a global consciousness or like universal consciousness, whatever that is. I don't remember which it was either or. But I think there's a real like market for that to like tap into like this like social media. And I think there's a lot of marketers that are still like, they're aware of it and they do it. They use the platforms and everything, but they're still sleeping on the fact that there are 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, like 22-year-olds that are like excellent, have spent hours and hours on Instagram, hours on Twitter, days, weeks on Twitter, weeks, months on Instagram, TikTok, that have become so well versed in like the language of memes that, dude, I'm just waiting for the day that there's like a meme agency that's like, hey, come work with us. We're gonna like get to know your business, your value proposition, who you sell to, and we're gonna make memes that convert into leads,
dude.
Like memes as a service. Like we at Sprint Page have made memes for our clients, and they're liked. And then you can put memes in emails. You can put them on LinkedIn. You can put them on Twitter. You can send them over text. I've sent memes as a means for outreach before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think memes are just another language, and they just kind of so happen to be. I don't want to say they're like a young person's language because my dad sends me memes, but they look like they were made in like 2008 Mac 1. Like, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think about memes?
Yeah, I actually have somebody I'm connected with, like, and we've started talking recently. His name's Tack Meta, and I think that's how I'm pronouncing it. That's how you pronounce his last name. But he has it's called Brilliant Business. And initially he got started, he was just slinging memes. Like he had a couple clients and he was only making memes. And his memes are a completely different style than mine. His are like, he's photoshopping shit. Like he's grabbing stuff and it's like outside of the box. Like it's way different style than mine. And they're really good. So he's starting to scale that. I haven't really talked to him much about that, but I used to do that too. Like it was like 10 memes a month for a client. Kind of moved away from that, but literally my full-time job is like I'm running meme pages and I'm making memes nonstop and then trying to find a way to make them into short form videos. Like,
Yeah.
so there's a huge market there for sure.
Repurposed memes.
But there's also like something I've been studying too, like for the long form content I write is being chaotic with humor on social media versus being effective with humor. And being effective with humor is way better. An example of someone who's chaotic with humor on social media is like what's it called? Not Redbox, not GameStop. What is the I think it's Red, and they bought it and turned it into a crypto.
Oh, Radio Shack.
Radio Shack. Yes,
Yeah.
They're chaotic on Twitter. Like there's no cohesion. There's no
Ty Lopez.
Say that again.
That's Ty Lopez. Sorry to interrupt.
Is that who runs it?
Yeah, you know who that is?
No.
Did you ever see those YouTube ads that probably back in like 2015? It's like a dude in his garage. Ty Lopez is like an OG in like slinging courses, but he's like recording himself in his garage. And he's like, all this hard work like got me to where I am now, like all this stuff. And he's like showing off his supercars. And he's like, but I'd be nowhere. And like my greatest asset. And he like pans over. It's like a ton of books behind him, like a ton of books. And he's like, it's books and it's knowledge. And he's like, and then it's like, I think it went viral. I think a lot of like people reacted to it and put him on blast because I think he was selling a course. I don't know what it was, but yeah, anyways, okay. Yeah. But yeah, Ty Lopez is like he's still around, but he's the one that bought Radio Shack. You could argue that this dude's like a master marketer because like he knew like what that ad was and like he knew people would probably see it, but what is this? Yeah. And then like he would get the YouTubers to react to it and you'd get all that stuff. And now he's buying a Radio Shack. But anyways, continue on.
Yeah, like so that example, like the way they do it, they're just like all over the place. That is a great way to just get a crap ton of eyes on your profile in a relatively short amount of time. But that's not actually building any brand equity or brand retention, which is what you want if you have a business. But somebody like Duolingo, all their humor is centered around their product and or the problems and relatable things that people experience using their product or in the industry. So it's like relevant humor and that sticks with people. So it's the combination of like the brand is there and the humor. That's the most effective for like longevity. And that's what we do with or I try to do with my personal brand and everything.
So who would you say like are your top 3 favorite brands? Like if or two separate questions, we'll start with this one. Like overall, like who has the best copy, the best marketing, like best content you think? Top 3 brands for you.
This is just because recent thing, bro. I've been seeing TikTok has this campaign right now because they're being threatened to be banned. And I have YouTube TV, so it's running like crazy on those. And it's a really it's not a funny campaign at all. It's like highlighting all of the benefits that TikTok has, and they're like putting it out, making it like super intense commercials. Very effective. That's like something different, but that's very recent. I'm big on like creator brands. Like as cookie cutter as it sounds, like the Nelk Boys, like what they do, like turning themselves into a whole media company and just subtly plugging their products like in the background, or like instead of having ads in their videos, they just promote their own product. That strategy, like that creative brand strategy, that's where I'm seeing. I'm like, I like that. Like, I think that's at least the next couple of years, that's where everything's going to head. But like, I'm trying to think, like, even though I'm a marketer, I'm not a big, like, I don't like, I'm not a materialistic person. Like, Apple's good. I'm trying to look at things around me that, I mean, Barstool
Yeah.
good too, but
Yeah, I think Barstool has a very similar approach to like the Nelk approach, is like, which is build an audience, retain that audience, sell. Like, obviously Barstool has like a ton of brand deals and like they were acquired and all that stuff. I think Nelk's like 100% of their proceeds that comes through what they sell, basically.
not anymore, but it used to be, yeah. But now they're going a little more like corporate, I'd say, and they're making the moves with like sponsors and everything. And it makes sense because that's just another revenue stream, especially if you have a shit ton of employees. Like, why not have it? But in the beginning, for sure, that's what they did. They only made money from their own stuff.
Yeah, and this is kind of off topic, but I want to go back to like the topic of quantity and quality, because I have a buddy who is doing really well on Instagram and LinkedIn. He does like personal coaching and
What's his name?
Eric Weber.
I've seen. I've seen.
Yeah. So he does an amazing job, like putting out reels and like multi-purposing his content on LinkedIn and Instagram, and like they're received very well on both platforms. And I think he's got it down to a good science of quality and quantity. I've been like pushing him. I'm like, get on Twitter, like, honestly, for like the last year and a half, I've been like, Eric, like, you got to get on Twitter. There's a huge, like, slice of Twitter that is just all fitness people, coaches, communities, like stuff like that. And he's been like, so it's been like that for like a year, but like yesterday we were talking and it's just like, he's focused on like building out his Instagram and his LinkedIn, right? Like, these people on Twitter are not on Instagram. They're not on LinkedIn. They're just on Twitter, right? Yeah. Like, Eric's building his audience on Instagram and LinkedIn, and he's done a really good job. And he's like, he has a full-time job. Like, he coaches strength and conditioning for like 7 different Division I teams at Denver University. So he's got like a whole thing, dude. He's the busiest dude. I go and visit him, and he has like his life down to a science. Like, I was talking about this yesterday. I put a little Loom, because I'm running a program right now that him and I put together like a year, or like last fall. It's kind of like a half of like 75 hard. It's called 33 bounce back, and it's just like I guess you could call it like an easier 75 hard. But I lost my train of thought, but I put a video in Jockey Discord yesterday, like just going over it, saying what I was saying. And like, I was just thinking, like, Eric, you talk about like circadian rhythm, or like any of these things that are like kind of like new, they're not new concepts, but a lot of people are like finding out about them, whatever, myself included. But like like living, like, and being like tapped into like the source, right? It's like Eric, dude, wakes up with the sunrise. Like, the sun rises, Eric like just wakes up, goes to bed. Like, he's obviously been doing this through routine, so like he is so tapped in, and but not like too much, right? I think people can focus too much on efficiency that they don't get anything done. This dude gets so much done. He does like unreal work with his clients. I worked with him last year, and got me in like the best shape of my life. I still work with him, but like, it's so interesting to see that, dude. Like, people that are like truly like, I don't know, like, just being around them, you're more productive. Like, I walk next to him, and I just feel like I'm like walking more productively. I don't really know how to explain that. But the question of like, like he's focused on like putting out reels and like putting out LinkedIn. So I wanted to ask you about that because you've been killing it on LinkedIn and now you're going over to Twitter. I know you're not on anything else. Like you have no other social medias.
Yeah.
When it comes to like quality and quantity, how important is it to not even when you're starting out, but just like as you build and continue to build, like how important do you think it is to like focus on maybe 1 to 2 platforms? And obviously that probably has something to do with like where your target audience is, right? But like,
yeah,
have you seen successful cases in like someone like a creator that posts on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff?
it's hard. Like I believe that you should perfect a platform or get as close to perfection as you can before like branching out. It's like go a mile deep, not a mile wide. Because people like, oh, we have a brand. This goes for brands too. Like if you have a brand and like you want to start a social media presence, they immediately think, oh, we got to be on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We got to be everywhere. It's like, no, figure out where your audience is hanging out in the first place and go there, because it could be Discord or it could be Reddit. So I would say if he feels like he's got a good system down and is crushing it and consistently growing on Instagram and LinkedIn and has a crap ton of content, previous content that he can repurpose for Twitter, why not repurpose all that content for Twitter and just schedule it out? And that'll give you like a good buffer time to like slowly warm up to Twitter and like figure it out. That's the advice I would give. And that's the only reason I'm giving him that advice is because that's what I did a month and a half ago when I decided, all right, I'm solely on LinkedIn currently. I'm going to branch out to Twitter. So that was my strategy, just taking all my past content, using that as like a good buffer. And then once I felt good about Twitter and my systems on LinkedIn, then I could hit Twitter as hard as I'm hitting LinkedIn. So I to give context too, I spent a year on LinkedIn before I stepped to Twitter. I spent a year, got to 10K on LinkedIn, and then stepped to Twitter. So that was that.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what I told him too. I think a big part of it, right, is like, yes, he's not worried about being able to put the content on Twitter. I think it's more of like the mental bandwidth and like
that's priority.
Where the focus is going, right? Because even if he's putting that content out on Twitter, he still has to like check his Twitter and like just like feel like he's growing it somehow. So I now kind of understand like why he's focusing that, because like that's what I do. I don't post on Instagram. I recently re-downloaded Instagram just to kind of like check up on buddies and stuff. But yeah, I mean, focusing, I mean, it's anything in life, right? Like narrowing your scope, and then like doubling down, tripling down on what works. That's just kind of the recipe.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I think it's so cool to see that's another account and that is like grown and like just like watch grow. So it's like Eric's and his like he was posting consistently when he started, getting like very little engagement, but he kept going. And like that's just like, dude, that's just like who he is. I've known him. We've known each other for how old are you in 7th grade? 12?
Yeah. 12 sounds about right. Yeah.
So I've known him for about 11 years almost.
Damn.
Which is insane. And dude, like ever since we were in like middle school, like he always just was like the most like he like when he had his mind set to something, like he would do it, and he was always like very good at sports, very good student, whatever. But then like when we were like 16, 17, he got like super into fitness, because he wanted to get like a starting position as a sophomore for like the lacrosse team, and he had to get in better shape and he had to become more athletic. So dude, he literally, and it's like he got the most insane transformation I've seen for like a young guy. Like he like shed all of his baby fat, all of like that like puberty weird weight that you get, some get. And yeah, he just ever since he's just been like so committed to the craft, and it's cool to see that like translate into his work now. Like he's built such a solid foundation of fitness and knowledge and wisdom, and now he's like coaching athletes, and now he's like putting it into content. And I know how smart he is, so it's so cool to see. And then seeing him like set his mind on like building his like social brands has been sweet because I watched his LinkedIn. He would, yeah, I mean, get pretty low engagement at first, and then like he literally just kept going, and then it grew, and it's like in a good spot now. Like, and he's getting inbounds, like people hitting him up, hey, can you coach me? Yep, I can.
Dude,
that's
like,
it.
Yeah, it's an ego check. Like the first month, 2 months is a pure ego check because you're not going to get any recognition. You're not going to get any progress. I'm speaking generally. Maybe you'll have like a video pop off, but for most, it's an ego check, and it really is. It tests you like if you're actually going to be in it. But like one of the things I always try and remind myself is just widening the time horizons. So like anytime I feel like I'm not growing, like the last month was a slow growth month, I needed to zoom out and just say, hey, all the fundamentals stayed there. Like I got all my reps in, I posted every single day, I did everything. It just didn't hit this month. Zoom out. In the long run, it's going to win. Like it's going to work out. Like it takes, like I literally, as stupid as it sounds, I heard someone say, it takes 9 months for a baby to grow inside of your mom's belly or a mom's belly, and then they're born, and then it takes 18 years for them to be like an average human. So what makes you think building your business is going to be any different? Like it's not going to happen. Like it's going to take a while. So I've been kind of taking that mindset, treating it like a baby in a sense, and just zooming out. So that's been big for sure.
That is a very important concept. Like, because if you are among the few that start, like keeping going and just like keeping the train going, that's like a whole nother thing. It's like you have to start again every day. Sometimes it feels like sometimes things are good, whatever. And you can see that when you zoom out. But yeah, it's like even like in like work life too, like you can kind of like see the other side of people when things get tough, things get rough. Very, very interesting because I think a lot of times, I mean, we are just humans, dude, and some of us are like still pretty young, like you said, like an 18-year-old average human. It's just it is crazy to think about, where you are as an individual, and then like where we might be in like 10 years might be something completely different. Who knows? Like I might skip town and just like start working on one of these boats out here. Like, but yeah, it's incredible. And it's really fun to see, I think, with like close friends too. And something Eric and I talk about a lot is like I think it's like the power of 5, and it's like the power of like the 5 closest people that you keep in your circle. I think that's something that's really important too. And I've noticed that like moving around a bit, living in different places, running around in different circles. I think you do just kind of like ultimately become your own environment. And when you move somewhere alone, like I've done like twice, right? But then I'll end up like making friends, like getting into a friend group. But like now being down here, being like alone with your goals and like your thoughts and like everything else, it really is like it's something that I've been like wanting to do for a long time. Like I wanted to do when I moved to Montana, and then I just met a ton of buddies that love to ski and drink beer. And I got a little distracted, and then I also met Jack in Montana, the guy who I started Sprint Page with, so it evened out. And then obviously moved to Seattle, and then bounced around places in between. But I've loved everyone I've met and like everything. But I think like I've been needing like maybe just like a month to just like be like, all right, I need to show up every single day and like do what I need to do, and just like kind of filter these things out that I've been wanting to do. So I think that's it's proved in that like the power of 5 is proof, like when you go out on your own, But yeah, being like growing up with Eric and talking to him every single day, seeing what he's done is really cool, and seeing like your buddies grow like from like the origin to now.
Yeah.
Is pretty fun, man. He's like making money online, and he's like doing really good work with his clients. But
I love magic internet money, man.
Yeah, seriously. Go ahead.
What's the plan with the podcast? You just posting on Spotify or just YouTube?
I'm just on YouTube. It's mostly just for fun. I think like one thing you and I have definitely noticed, and one thing, keep talking about Eric, but one thing Eric and I have noticed, and among a lot of other friends, is we'll have phone calls that go for 3 hours, 2 hours, you know, just talking about stuff. And the conversation might start off talking about, I don't know, like something that you're working on or something, and then it ends up being somewhere completely different. Like, and I love that, and I think you hear that a lot with people that start podcasts. But like that's really kind of the idea, is to like record conversation. The whole like desk jockey thing, like with the Discord I built. I think we have like 120 members in there now, which is really cool. But
I was gonna ask you about that. Like, I'm never on Discord, so like I think I'm in it, but I'm never on Discord.
Yeah, I think you are.
How's that going? Like what's
it's good. It's good. It's really fun. So it's just like I mean, there's no like real, there was like the origin was like I was leaving Snowflake, and one of my favorite parts of that, like working from my computer and everything, was like having Slack and like jumping in Zooms with like my, you know, fellow SDRs, making cold calls, messing around, like roasting each other. Like, love that, dude. It, like, kept me in that, and it like honestly like 4x'd my like creativity and like ability to do good work. So the idea, the whole idea for like Desk Jockey as a brand's been in my mind for like a year and a half, like a long time. I'm like, I want to like start a young professionals brand and like do all this stuff. But I started the Discord, the Desk Jockey Roundtable. It started off like just SDRs, like young salespeople, like wanting to like share stuff on like messaging, and then like guys in finance, like, hey, like, can I join this? And then it like now we have dudes that do content, that do design, that are in med school, do podcasting, finance, real estate, trainers, do it like all over the place.
All in one like.
Yeah, so it's like all in one chat, but we just have multiple channels. So yeah, I kind of like to think of like Desk Jockey as like the Barstool Sports of LinkedIn, just like a ton of different angles, but like one foundation. And I think that is like, I think it's like young professionals, like in the digital age. Like the digital age is like, maybe we feel like we've been in it for a while, but obviously it's like very new. So my goal with it, like, and I guess with this podcast, is to just share everything I know, like, which is not that much, but like everything that I do know, I would like to share with people, because I am well aware, and I touched on this in like the podcast that I released, but like where my network has gotten me, and I've been blessed to know like some really incredible people who have helped me get into interviews or like meet people, right? And obviously, in most cases, people can't just get you a job, right? Like people can get you interviews, whatever. But I would love like for Desk Jockey to be like a free open source knowledge of like, and like network that you can tap into.
Yeah.
And I'd like to do like, when I have a little bit like more time, I would love to do like free like SDR courses, like getting into tech sales, like helping people with that. Cause I've seen like, there's a lot of stuff like Course Careers and whatnot, like do that kind of stuff. But I would love Desk Jockey to be like, content based, like putting out content through Desk Jockey, and like having there be like a marketplace where people can, you know, find out more about careers, like how to tap into careers, and then just like be a community of like-minded people, right? Like that Power 5 thing I said, like we have guys in Discord, and we'll like hop into voice channel or hop into Zooms and riff around or talk about people's businesses or side hustles that they're doing, or Like there's online trainers, there's dudes that are like salespeople. There's real estate guys talking about FHA loans. Like I didn't know what that was. I was like looking up like stuff for like buying a house. That's a ways out for me, but I was just like looking into it and researching it, and I just like put a message into Desk Jockey. It's like, what's an FHA loan? And I got like 2 responses within the day. Like that's just kind of what I'm trying to build, right? So, and then like plenty of people that are like trying to get into like the SDR realm joining it, and then like DMing me personally saying, hey, like just today, like Johnny, like I saw there's an opening at Webflow. I saw that the hiring director. Like, are you cool brokering an introduction? And then like I just help them where I can. And like that's kind of what I want to build. I don't think there really is a real solid professional brand out there. Like that's just based in community and joining and making becoming better. Like that's what I want to do. And like eventually, dude, I see it being like getting into banking, getting into finance, getting into sales. Like there's like a Desk Jockey course for all of it, and it's free. And it's like I think that'd be pretty cool.
Dude, you can't. I don't think you can lose if like the origin story and like the driver behind it is like community. Like I don't think you can lose if that's like the driver, which it seems to be and like is currently. Like you are thoroughly enjoying it and you're not trying to make money off of it. Like you just realize that the wealth of connections in there. You're not, I mean, obviously with a community you can monetize in some way, but like right now the focus is just building an actual community. Like you can't lose with that.
Yeah, I think I tweeted that like a week ago. It's like all you need in 2023 is a Discord and a dream.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I mean, you see it time and time and time again. And unfortunately, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, it is very new, right? Like it's been an idea of mine for a long time, but like I think we made the Discord in January or December, and then people started joining in January.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been awesome, man. And just like you meet so many people, and like that is the real wealth, right? Is like wealth is your net. It's the question of network or net worth, and I think it's 1,000% network. Like,
yeah,
I mean, sure, net worth will come, but yeah, I'd way rather know cool people and work with cool people and work with people that I want to work with. Interesting people that are committed to a certain craft or trying to find their way or whatever that is. I think it's sweet. Like, dude, I met a guy in Seattle. I was like at this like pho shop. I just like went to this pho restaurant one night after working at a coffee shop. And this dude just like I just like sat. It was like a bar table, and like he was sitting there, and I sat down. He was like, "Yo, like, what do you do?" Because I had my backpack on and like these headphones on. He's like, "Are you a creative?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just a sales guy." And he's like, "Oh, he's like, you look like a creative." And then like we got to talking, and I think like. I mean, I don't know. It was really cool, man. Like this guy was an artist. He was like a guitarist and like turned photographer. And like through our conversation just kind of made me realize like, yeah, like my tangible societal skill is sales. But I think why I'm maybe good at sales or better than other people is because I've always kind of had a creative mind, for better or for worse. My mind is just never and then that comes out to like sticking out on media or like sticking out in someone's inbox or sticking out on a cold call, like whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of the origin of it. And like, from what I gathered, like talking to this guy who's a guitarist, musician, but he like is like a videographer, like visionary for bands. It was just cool because I think we put ourselves in a lot of boxes. Like, and then the skill that you can like monetize to, I hate to use the word like society because it's like society, but like the skill that you monetize for society and like the greater monetary system, right? Like you can fall into that box and then kind of forget who you are, and then or you can let it like guide you more onto like who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I think it's Desk Jockey's been really fun, and I guess there's no like real goal to the podcast. I think it's just like communicate with people, and then just like because I think like even through conversation like you and I, it's like we learn more about each other and like ourselves too, and then like putting that out onto the internet because why not?
Yeah, like I know you've said this multiple times, but as much as like it's like we're talking to you, but it's also I'm talking to myself as like hearing my words out loud. Like you need that sometimes. But like I know you're thinking about Austin. We got to do one in person. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah. I think that's where we're gonna end up next. And I've sent a couple of houses to you. I think like I know.
Years, bro. I don't know. The only people I know there are my coworkers, but I was gonna get a place. Like I was just gonna get a 1-person apartment in the city. But like, bro, we can figure something out.
Yeah, there's a few guys that I've talked to that might want to move down there, and if it happens, I think the idea is to get like a 4 or 5 bedroom house and like have like one room open for like podcasting or like an office kind of space, a workspace. But yeah, I've heard great things about Austin, and I think it's important. Like that's what I learned from being in Seattle was like I loved Seattle. It's like a cool city and everything, but it was really cool to just be around like young people in the same industry that I was working in. I just don't think it was like the city for me necessarily. And then I think Austin would be pretty sweet from what I've heard, and the people that I I know that live there currently. But yeah, man, I think that'd be really fun. You're like dead set on it, right? Like you're going.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I gotta figure out like timeline and everything, and also like, yeah, of August, September. Also depends on like if you're going, if you want to get a house, or if I get a 1-person apartment. But I'm pretty flexible. Like I'm not rushing down there.
What month are you thinking about going?
August or September.
Okay. So I'd start in the fall. I'm traveling through August, so I'd either go down there September or October, and I'd probably do like a 6-month lease.
Yeah.
But I'll send you more on that, dude. It's hard to plan because I don't even know where I'm going to be in a month. Well, I'll be here, but after that, I don't know. But all right, cool. We've been going for over an hour. If anyone watches this whole entire thing, comment below, and I will personally thank you. And
we'll send them something.
Yeah, we'll send you a surprise. If you watch this whole podcast all the way through, all 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 45 seconds, shout out to you. Hopefully you got something out of it, but I know I did. As always, Aidan. So thank you. Thank you for joining on what is Desk Jockey Podcast 001, but it's technically episode 2. I just couldn't figure out the 000 thing. So, yeah. All right, man.
This was fun. Thank you for thanks for chatting as always.
Yeah. You have a good one.